I was in Bowie, Maryland at the time at the Orioles AA affiliate stadium, tucked away in the equipment room. There are helmets, and bats, and balls, and catcher's equipment, and I'm sitting on a bucket of balls with my laptop on a travel suitcase.
I just remember calling both of you after that Google Meet. It's like, oh, we're going to have to keep looking because that did not go well.
That's my perspective of the beginning stages. I can pass the baton to you guys to score the touchdown.
Mixing two analogies there. We got track.
Yeah,
and
I was going to
football.
say.
Yeah, I guess.
I promise Dash knows stuff about sports. Don't worry. What's up, everybody? This is Ryan. I am the CEO and one of the founders of DubClub. We're kicking off something special starting this week. It's called the Founding 3 Podcast. It is sponsored by DubClub, hosted by me, DubClub CEO, alongside my two fearless co-founders, Lewis and Dash. And in this show, over the course of however many weeks this lasts us, we're going to go behind the scenes of what's going on at DubClub, specifically what sports content creator CEOs, who we call our partners, what partners we're working with that are inspiring us, what are the opportunities we see for them, and then typically we'll jump into the film room with Lewis and Dash, who are both former collegiate athletes, Dash a professional athlete as well, both know sports very, very well, and they'll chop it up for a bit of time at the end of each episode, tell us what they're seeing. But because this is the first episode, I'm going to start us off with the DubClub founding story. And I always like to ask this question because it's a unique situation. We've got three founders. We've all been friends. I played football with Lewis at Stanford for 2 years. Got a funny story to share there at some point over the course of this podcast. I've known Dash since we were kids. I used to give him carpool rides to the football games and football practices back in the day, and didn't know that he would become a way better athlete than I ever was. But I stamped that his abilities because of the conversations we had during our carpools. But we've known each other for a long time, and there's one question that I always like to ask because it sparks a decent debate. Lewis or Dash, who actually had the idea for DubClub, and why did that idea come about?
Dash, whose idea it truly is. I mean, why don't you take the red meat there?
Yeah, in terms of the idea for DubClub, I, of course, am a horrible sports bettor, and I found awesome, very talented handicappers on Twitter and on other platforms, and that's kind of what sparked the idea for DubClub. The real debate that we always discuss is who came up with the name for DubClub. Lewis can take the first shot on goal at the name, and then we can dive further into the actual founding story. But that's the real debate there.
It's definitely me who came up with the name. Dash will respond with some sort of mythology that's perhaps true, but not at all relevant to the naming of this fantastic company. The reality is, when we were coming up with the company, it was one of the few periods in time when the Chicago Bears were not horrible at football. And there was, after winning games, this was the 14-2 Matt Nagy, Mitch Trubisky-led Bears team, and they obviously won a lot of games that year. They would go back to the locker room and it would be Club Dub, celebrating the victory. I thought that was cool, had a nice ring to it. We wanted to create a company where cappers and subscribers would win more together and create that community where wins happened. So that's the real genesis of the name, but I'm sure Dash will share his side of the story too.
Well, I just remember, I'm going to jump in really quick because Lewis and I were roommates at the time. So Dash is going to give the founding genesis of okay, what actually happened? Why did DubClub get founded? But if we're on the name topic, Lewis and I were roommates, and when we were kind of through the very basic ideation phase, which Dash will talk about, I just remember writing on a whiteboard in our living room, and Lewis slamming his hands on the table, scaring the absolute shit out of me. And I looked at him, he goes, DubClub. And I was like, what? He's like, that is the name, DubClub. And he was so vividly over the moon about it. And now I know it was Club Dub, very originally flipped. but very on par with our mission to help more people win more together. Even funnier story, Lewis, which I don't know if you knew this. Dash and I were part of a dub club in high school over at, I'll give him a shout out, Kevin Donahoe's house. He'd host the dub club. We'd go watch the Warriors play, and that's when they were winning all those games. So it's had a long line of terminology for the name. But Dash, talk to us about the founding story. You say I am a bad sports bettor. You were a bad sports bettor. No longer are. But let's back up to the founding of DubClub. What were you doing, and what the heck is a handicapper, and how did you find them?
Yeah, fantastic question. I'll give Lewis the naming rights if he wants those, but I get the actual founding idea.
I'd take that any day.
Taking us back to just our original relationship, right? You hit on it briefly. I think this is a very cool part of the story. Is we grew up about 5 minutes from each other, went to K through 8 together, went to the same high school, went to the same college. So people think that I was following you around. So we've had a long-standing friendship.
I was dragging you around. That's the funny thing.
Yeah. Back in college, Lewis was 1 year older than I was. Ryan had since graduated at this point. I got introduced to Lewis. He was on the football team. I was on the baseball team. I lived with some football guys, and so Lou would come over and we'd play cards. Watch sports, play cards, occasionally bet on sports, whatever it may be. I realized he was a betting man like myself. We got along great. And then we took an entrepreneurship class together where the concept of the class was to build your own startup. And we jerry-rigged some bullshit startup through this 10-week course. But I realized one thing.
10X coming to a.
You guys get an A in the class?
We did.
I don't know.
Tom Byron.
Maybe Dash did.
I did realize that Lewis was a lot smarter than I was, and I kept that in the back of my brain for when I was playing minor league baseball. And we got sent home because of COVID. And during that stretch of COVID, as a minor league baseball, you're already underpaid, and we weren't getting paid during that time period. So doing anything I could to scrap for some dollars. Got on Twitter, found some day traders. Day trading didn't really work out for me. Sports started to come back, in particular the NBA. Started betting on sports a bit. As every introductory sports bettor does, they lose from the start. Found some folks on Twitter who were really, really sharp. They were consistent. They were winning. It was really, really hard to consume their content. And I called up Lou at the time. I remembered he loved betting on sports. I remembered he was really damn smart. And I was like, man, we gotta do something about this because there are talented sports bettors out there. And it just so happens that our fearless CEO, Ryan Gaertner, was Lewis's roommate at the time and overheard those conversations. But that's my perspective of the beginning stages. I can pass the baton to you guys to score the touchdown.
Mixing two analogies there. We got track.
Yeah,
and
I was going to
football.
say.
Yeah, I guess track.
I promise Dash knows stuff about sports. Don't worry. I'll tee it up. Basically, every week we're gonna start the episodes with this, and it's gonna be a lot longer in the future. But we don't have a ton of time today. Who is a CEO partner that is inspiring you, and why? I'm gonna have Dash go first with an existing partner that's been on the platform for years. Go ahead, Dash.
A partner that is inspiring me right now is Hammering Hank. Today actually marks the 3-year anniversary to the date in which he sold his first subscription on DubClub. He is one of the longest tenured cappers on the platform and one of the most successful. He flew out to San Francisco this past weekend to celebrate a large earnings milestone. We went out golfing, TPC Harding Park on Sunday, followed it up with a Warriors game shortly after. He's hungry, he's passionate, and most importantly, he's incredibly sharp. He gave out 4 winners on Sunday. So shout out Hammering Hank. Congrats on 3 amazing years, and I'm ready for 30 more.
That's epic. Incredible blackjack player as well.
Yeah.
I've never seen a guy go on the kind of run that man did at Bally's River North last summer. So the man knows how to win.
I mean, yeah. It's crazy just bringing him to life, and I won't use his name because he did commit to me yesterday, Dash, when he was in the office, that the Hammering Hank, behind Hammering Hank brand the person behind that brand will show up in 2025 on camera and people will know who it is. But before then, I won't give it away. What I will say is that he's never had a real job. He is like in his early 20s. He just got married. He had an internship as like a sales rep at some like IT security company for a year in college. And he decided, look, I'm just going to do this full time, work on my DubClub. And he's, made over 7 figures on the platform. It's pretty tremendous to have that be someone that we serve, just to like come back to the excitement. And he's just such a good person. Like, he's super hungry. Yeah. Anyways, we can talk about Hammer Hank for a while. I know we don't have a ton of time, but just bringing that to life is like he's early 20s, never really had his own job, and like I don't think he ever will need a real job at the end of the day. He's the CEO of his business.
If I were as sharp as he was, I wouldn't have a job either. I'd be living in Vegas.
Epic. All right,
Lewis,
am I up with new partner?
What are you seeing? What new partner has been inspiring you, and why?
I am going with someone who's got great branding that really resonates with me, at least. Donut Props exploded onto the scene really a week ago. One of those guys that's kind of been toiling on socials, trying to build an audience, and then just struck gold in the past few months. As I was describing what's really resonating with the market in terms of how we're shining through as differentiated right now, this is the kind of CEO that comes to mind. Really conscientious, really long-term oriented, wants to build an iconic company. And as we were working through how we could partner and how we could help him realize that vision, so much of the value was around getting him access to this amazing community, this amazing network, all the resources that come with working with a dedicated partner that's just focused on this space. He's had a tremendously successful launch. He's quicker and more decisive than most. Just quit his day job this week after being on the platform for a couple weeks. And those are the most fun stories that I love and never get old as a founder of the company. We got him introduced to Dash last week to put together a marketing plan for how we can make sure that this business is everything he wants and more. So Donut Props, congratulations, and know that you're definitely getting me out of bed excited in the morning these days.
That's pretty awesome, because a year ago even, I don't think our partners would have felt that comfortable after 1 week quitting their day job. And now I think they're realizing, whoa, there are over 250 of these like young entrepreneurs on DubClub who are doing it full time. It's pretty awesome. That's a cool story, Lou. I haven't met him yet, but I'm excited to chop it up with him. Hopefully get him out in San Francisco for a CEO corner soon. If all goes
I know
well,
you're a
it
fitness
sounds like
guy
his
these
trajectory
days.
is up and to the right.
Yeah, no kidding. Don't hold the donut branding against him with the Aura ring on over there.
Yeah, isn't donut a negative in sports? Like, you don't want to throw donut up on the board.
The branding's good. He's got one of those AI like donut, looks delicious. We'll leave it alone.
He did say that he was a cross country runner and a good one at that. So Ryan and him will definitely get along on the fitness front. That's for sure. Outside of his branding.
Well, he'd probably run circles around me, but I'll ask if he wants to go for a nice jog around San Francisco, avoiding the poop on the ground. All right, I'm going to talk quickly about a partner that's inspiring me, and I'll be very fast. Zeke from Prop Geek Zeke. I had him on the CEO Corner podcast earlier today, and just reminded me of like how awesome and special he is, and just how cool his story is. But what struck me was like how relatable his story is. He was a college freshman who was kind of bored with school. He went through high school during COVID, so was very used to being in these online communities and interacting with people online and seeing people build businesses online. As a college freshman, Zeke was sitting in the back of the class studying like correlation. You got to listen to the podcast for more detail, but like in a Chinese translated book. Just loves math, loves sports, and didn't really love the path that he was going down per se. He was in pre-med classes trying to work towards being a nurse. But what he found more passion in was helping people make more informed decisions. What he realized was like at scale, he could probably help like, I don't know, a couple hundred people a year, maybe 100, 1,000 people coming through the hospital. Or what he could do is help what is right now like a base of 2,000, 3,000 active subscribers who don't really know much about betting, help them lose less money, frankly. And Zeke was telling me some of his numbers over the last couple of years. And if you put a $10 down on every play, every wager you made, and use Zeke's advice, you'd be up $7,500 in profit. That's for people who do this for fun, that really don't know what they're doing. Taking advice from someone like that who genuinely really cares about helping is inspiring for me. And I know it inspires you guys too. But the fun thing is, I was holding up the sign for Zeke. He's crossed the $500,000 mark on DubClub. He's, well into the close to 7 figures. And of that, like 200,000 have come, that $200,000 worth of subscriptions has come from our network, from, promotions that we've driven for him, Dash, things that you've helped him with, people finding him through the marketplace. That's what is really inspiring, is that we're helping him make $200,000 more, and that's divided by 50. That's like thousands and thousands of people that have found him through DubClub that are better off because of it. So Zeke is who's inspiring me this week, and I know there's going to be others that come up in the weeks to follow. Lewis, do you want to pick it up? I mean, what was your perspective, right? You got the call from Dash. I think I came in a little bit late to the conversations, which I can talk about in a sec, but you guys had done a lot of the legwork up front.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really know what Dash was talking about when he called me originally, candidly. I was like, what's going on? Like, I had been into sports betting, like, very casually, very recreationally. Like, so Dash introduced me to this crazy world. I had always known I wanted to do something entrepreneurial. Both my parents are entrepreneurs. I was doing investment banking at the time, and if there's anyone listening to this who's spent any time in the world of investment banking, you know that nothing like that job makes you want to work for yourself and not for someone else. So, like, I had a prepared mind from a domain and just like a eagerness to do something cool perspective. Dash brought this really unique understanding of the market, and we became obsessed with like getting to know what was possible here. And to Ryan, who was doing laundry as I was screaming into a Google Meet on the virtual whiteboard about how we could do this, and I think, Ryan, what you brought to the table was a real pragmatism for how we could actually start to learn and start to build. I think Dash and I were very overly optimistic about the scope of something starting out in particular. And you brought both like a really grounded expertise, having been around early and growth stage companies as an investor, but also like, okay, guys, this is cool. I actually think there's a great opportunity here. How about we cut the initial scope about 90% and start there? And when Dash and I first started chatting, it was like self-driving sports betting, and we're going to get licensed by regulators and X and Y and Z. And Ryan was very much the adult in the room, helping us to anchor around a much more attainable and helpful initial vision. And the rest is history.
I'm just thankful that my girlfriend McKenna allowed us to have that whiteboard. I think without it, we would have had a tough time working through some of those early problems.
100%. 2127 Filbert. It's going to get inducted in the DubClub Hall of Fame one day.
Yeah, it's an incubator. Thank God Tom Queck isn't taking a percentage of the DubClub shares. Hopefully he doesn't hear this. But anyways,
that's good for society.
My perspective was that of hearing Lewis screaming at the computer with like enthusiasm, not out of anger, which for me was very abnormal to hear, because usually it was out of anger when he was building a model for the investment bank he was working for. It was, a couple cuss words and somebody broke the model and Lewis had to go in and fix it. But this was like very authentic enthusiasm. So I peeked my head in from the little laundry area and heard Dash's voice. And that's when I got a little bit butthurt because I was like, dang, I thought I was friends with Dash. But very quickly, I reminded Lewis, hey, I grew up with Dash, and it just happened to be a very natural folding of me into the conversations going forward, which was very special because when I heard the problem, which was what Dash explained, in that he didn't really know much about how to make informed decisions when betting on sports. And the fact that he was going to a place like social media, which isn't really meant for that. It's more meant for consumption of news and keeping up with people's lives, not really meant for consuming information that's going to help you make better decisions and make more money effectively. So I thought that was interesting. But what really hit me, which, Lewis, you kind of brought the pragmatism point forward, was the people creating the content were the ones that just, to me, had to have a problem and had to have the big dreams of making a lot of money because they had people listening to them and paying them for that, which is a super, super unique opportunity, Lewis, as you brought up. Just, you've got this major demand, which, like literally anything else that consumers do, there's a resource for them to not waste that money. Like, if I'm going to go shop for anything, there's reviews, there's validated history of purchases, whatever it might be. If I'm going to go travel, my God, there's a laundry list of stuff. If you're going to go bet on sports, there's not really a ton of trustworthy information out there or reliable information. And Dash was grasping at straws trying to find that on social media. And my initial thought was, oh my gosh, Dash is going to the creators themselves of this information because he, like most of us, trusts the person themselves, not this brand who's in it for the profit. That he trusts the person who's giving the information because they really care. And that was kind of like the spark for DubClub, I would say. And that's what got me really excited early on was, oh my gosh, like there are these people. And then Dash named some of the people he was following, and we went and looked them up. I remember Lewis and I, Lou, do you remember this? We sat in the living room of our apartment every night for hours. Like sometimes I stayed up past like midnight, 2 a.m. And we were like funneling in every play that one of the people Dash had been following had put out on Twitter. We were putting that into a spreadsheet, and then we were manually grading it just to see, like, is Dash crazy or are these people actually really smart? And then we would reach out from the Stanford Walk-On Twitter account because it had like 1,500 followers. None of us had any credibility. So we reached out from the Stanford Walk-On account and, contacted guys like Sharp Minds, who's still on the platform today, a couple of these other people that we had been following, and had conversations with them and realized, like, wait, these are just people like us. Like, this guy is 2-3 years out of college, living in Pennsylvania, loves betting on sports, has found different leagues to bet on, and he's built a following of like 15,000. And that was like a eureka moment for me, at least, that made me realize, oh my gosh, this is really freaking cool. And during that time, that whole period when we were doing all this like upfront diligence, I was investing, and Lewis was at an investment bank and Dash was playing baseball. So it wasn't like the three of us couldn't just jump in. It was something that we had to really validate first. And I think we did pretty quickly. And then let's get to, why don't you guys give the perspective of, after we realized, okay, look, like, let's pare down self-driving sports betting from the big picture idea which we had, which I'm still positive we're going to move in that direction. We're going to be the destination where anyone can benefit from sports content. But we pared that down to something we could do that was a bit more achievable. Talk to me about what happened next. Where were you guys at in your lives when we first launched our product in October 2021?
Before I do that, I'm going to sidebar quickly back to the tracking exercise we do, because I want to give a shout out and also a caveat. Caribbean Capper was almost the reason why DubClub never launched, because I was responsible for tracking him, and at this point in time, he went on like a 17-3 MLB run. So I almost got to retire before we even launched DubClub. Caribbean capper was he ended up being in the second cohort of cappers that ever worked with DubClub on the partner side of things. And he actually just relaunched last week after taking some time away. So shout out to CC, a true OG of the DubClub story.
That's an awesome point. You know what's funny about him? He was in college at the time when he'd started all this. And he was playing a sport. I won't divulge too much info, but he was a college athlete, like helping people on the side as a side gig.
To your point about how the people we ended up serving ended up being people very much like us, and that's been a big reason why it's been so much fun. And where were we when we launched?
Really quickly before you get into the launch, just to be clear on the product, so people have an idea of what that initial product was. It was basically a way for the creator, the sports content creator, CEO, which again we call our partners, formerly called them cappers. I think that term is evolving to the point where like they're more than just a capper. Like it's not just, hey, go bet on this, or like here's what I would do. It's they're building a media brand around themselves. They're marketing themselves. There's a lot more they're doing, and so we think of them as the sports content creator, CEO of their business, and they have other people who they work with. But the first product we released, which we've evolved and continue to evolve, was allowing the creator to get paid on a subscription basis, and anyone that was subscribed to them, when the creator posted on DubClub, the messages would be texted to their phone, the consumer's phone. And it was just super simple. It was like, get paid and distribute your content really easy. Everyone wins more together in that equation. We've obviously evolved very, very much so since then, but that was October 2021. We were solving that immediate problem for the creator of how do I even get my business to a place of somewhat legitimacy? I'm managing hundreds of people on a spreadsheet who are cash apping me every month, and I don't even know how to track renewals, to how do I automate this and start to take some stuff off my plate? So October 2021, Lewis, where were you? Dash, where were you? And talk about that first month of the product launching with the first cohort of creators.
I was at Coda de Volpe texting my mom to subscribe. I remember it well, actually. I was with my now fiance, who at the time we had literally just started dating, and Ryan was in the lab with his mad scientist product designer hat on, getting this thing ready for prime time, or at least what we thought was prime time. So I remember it very vividly, and I think my mom has never canceled her original subscription. She's probably one of DubClub's top spenders all time. So congratulations to whoever nailed her as the first client in the history of DubClub.
Well done.
But we were all in different parts of the world. I'd moved back to Chicago from the apartment with Ryan. He scared me away effectively, finally, and was now working at a venture capital firm in Chicago, where I'm from. Dash was wrapping up a minor league baseball season, if I remember correctly, and Ryan had really taken on the mantle of getting this product thing to life as he was entering his first year of business school. So in a very short period of time between where we hatched the idea to where we actually launched, we were in very different places, which was kind of fun and challenging and set the stage for the next few years.
It was on my birthday. I remember specifically. I remember exactly where I was. It was on my birthday. I just finished up my first full pro season with the Orioles minor league system. And Lou, to your point, my girlfriend Allie, shout out her. She was Sharp Mind's first ever subscriber, and I believe is still subscribed. So that's where I was in the world and what I was doing.
Dash, do you remember the conversations we had dating back to fast forward a couple months after the October 2021 launch, which was obviously successful and something where I think all of us had to look around the room when we were doing our weekly calls. It was like, oh shit, like this is not just a project. This can be real. Do you remember the conversations we were having when you were heading into your next season about what it meant foregoing a lifelong dream of yours to play in the MLB and step away from that and instead dedicate your life to helping, at this point, hundreds, soon to be thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs create financial freedom on DubClub? Do you remember like how it felt, the gut-wrenching back and forth you were having with yourself to make that decision to not, pursue your dream?
100%. That year that we launched, coming off that first full season, I actually had a very successful season. We launched, started gaining some momentum, bringing on more and more partners to the platform. It was exhilarating and intoxicating being a part of their success and seeing them grow and seeing people start to, whoa, I'm going from 10 people paying me to 100 people to eventually 1,000 people paying me, and people start quitting their day jobs and pursuing this full time.
Yep.
I'm like, man, this is pretty special. At the time, it felt like, we had thousands of people. Looking back on it, it's hilarious. Like there were, maybe 30 people on the platform, and it felt like we were building Facebook. And I was just blown away and excited. Went back for another full season, just up and down year. Was starting to enjoy the DubClub grind more and more. Seeing these people's success was making me more and more excited, happier to sit down at my computer and help them grow any which way we could. And eventually made a decision to dive into this full time and pour 100% of my energy into it. But being on those bus rides, sending out surveys and creating links and doing all that stuff was definitely a balancing act there for a while I was balancing both.
Yeah, I would say your workspace has definitely improved probably 100 to maybe 1,000x from the 2022 Dash working on a bus connected to the HubSpot on the way from, one destination to the next day's game. Just an unbelievable amount of grit that involved.
We should give a shout out to our seed investors, in particular the crew at Uncork Capital. Because
oh my gosh, yeah, that's right.
Fast
forward, fall
through
of 2022 when we were going out to raise our seed round. I don't even like to brag about this, and it's not even a brag. It's just the reality. Like, Lewis, where were you during that process? Like, remember when we met with Trip Jones? Awesome. He led our round. Where were you, Dash? Where were you? And I'll give you an idea of where I was when we met with their entire partner group for the final round.
The final interview is I was the only one who was actually, I think, in some sort of Wi-Fi enabled location. I remember. Well, I won't spoil the landing. I was in our current office. How about Dash and Ryan go next?
Dash, where were you? I know you had to step away from the locker room and do a interesting location.
I was in Bowie, Maryland at the time at the Orioles AA affiliate stadium, tucked away in the equipment room. If you look in the background of my Zoom, that was before Google Meets had the feature where you can create an artificial background. There are helmets, bats, and balls, and catcher's equipment. And I'm sitting on a bucket of balls with my laptop on a travel suitcase, literally in like a soaked out in sweat uniform coming directly off the field. So that's where I was.
I think my Wi-Fi cut out like 4 times during that conversation with Uncork's partners, Susan, Jeff, Andy, Tripp at the time. And I was in Italy because it was after my first year of business school at Stanford. And I wanted to like just blow off a little bit of steam. So we went for a week over to Europe. And I didn't realize that during that time, we would be holding very aggressive fundraising conversations that accelerated way quicker than I had expected. I was expecting it to be in a good spot, but something that I could come back to the States and like be locked in to a workstation to handle. And multiple times throughout this conversation with the Uncork Capital team, my Wi-Fi kept cutting out. And I think I eventually decided to like go downstairs into the lobby of the hotel in the corner where there was nobody, so the audio was not interfering with the conversation, and just stayed off camera for half the conversation. But that's a testament truly to how good I think Uncork is. I mean, they've been in business now. They've raised multiple funds. They made some amazing investments like Poshmark, Fitbit, like you name it. And that's a testament to their team for seeing the opportunity here and for believing in all of our partners and believing in the problem that they're collectively solving on our platform by providing people better information. That's what got me really excited about working with them. And the Will Ventures team, similar situation. They both co-led our seed round. But same thing is they both saw this opportunity. And upon reflection, when I was thinking back to, oh my gosh, the situation that the three of us were in, Lewis aside, because Lewis was locked into Chicago.
I had Wi-Fi.
Yeah, you were good. But Dash and I, the situation we were in, and the fact that these lead investors still believed in what we were doing, that's when I realized like they're going to be in this for the long haul, and they're going to be with us through what is a journey of building a company in a really, really exciting space, but doing it the right way, which does not happen overnight. Like really, truly caring about the people we're building for, caring about solving the problem. That's what I think, back in late 2022 was a full year after we had launched the product. We raised that $3 million seed round, and that was what was so exciting about the partners we chose. They did it because they truly believed in what we were doing rather than all the things that we were saying at the time, because frankly, I don't think our pitch was very good. I think it was pretty bad. And our deck, Lewis, do you remember the deck that we put together for those conversations? It was like made in PowerPoint. No one had touched it up. I remember I sent it to somebody at a different fund after we had finished fundraising, and they looked at it and they were like, "You're literally never going to raise money with this." And I was like, "Oh, well, we just closed the round." Like it was that bad where at first glance people were like throwing up on it. But it didn't matter to Uncork and Will Ventures, which I think is the sign of someone who really, really deeply understands a problem.
I just remember calling both of you after that Google Meet. It's like, oh, we're going to have to keep looking because that did not go well. So God bless the Uncork team, and hopefully we've made you guys feel smart, and there's a long way to go. But I think it's also a great reminder of how far we've come as individuals and founders and how challenging this really is to go from that's the unique thing about the risk that our early investors took on us. All three of us have really no experience company building, right? Being an investor, being an investment banker, being a first baseman in AA, those things don't really prepare you to fundraise. And fundraising is like 1% of building a company. Hiring, developing people, doing sales, doing product development. Those are all skills that we've had to acquire and learn over the past few years. And I think it's a big reason why we resonate so deeply with the partners we serve, is because this is an audience of people that have had to develop skills, that have had to master that founder, owner, CEO mindset, that have to solve their own problems and get people to believe in them. And I think that story, as funny and silly as it is a good reminder. Like, wasn't so long ago where we really were figuring stuff out on the fly, and we still are every day. But I think it's
wasn't that long ago. Like this morning, you and I talked for 30 minutes about something we'd never encountered before.
Yeah, exactly.
It happens every day. And I talked to Prop Geek Zeke about this an hour ago. You're constantly figuring out what the heck to do. But Lewis, you're right. I mean, what the three of us don't have is the hard operating skills of running a business, but none of our partners do. And the average CEO partner on DubClub makes about 50 to 60 grand a year, and they have no background in doing what they're doing, running a business, giving people advice, managing a customer base. Neither do we. But what we all do, what we all have, I think what we share collectively is the sense of purpose. Like, why do we do it? We want to help more people win more together. That same thing applies, that same mantra applies to our partner base. They want to help people make better decisions. They want to help people win more. They wake up every day and they're trying to figure out, how can I make that a reality? Because if they do, they help more people win, they will make more money. That's what's so cool. And the same thing applies for us. If Dash helps more of the partners he works with make more money, inform more people, we make more money. And I don't know about you guys, but I've always been a goal-seeking animal. And there's no way, Lewis, you made it to Stanford as a walk-on football player And Dash, you made it all the way through, college baseball to the MLB without setting goals and wanting to absolutely annihilate them. So I'm patting us all on the back because we don't have the background, but I think we all share one thing in common with our partners, which is that cohesion of why we do it. Do you guys agree?
I entirely agree, and I think about the early days and the fake it till you make it approach. To Lewis's point, we had really no idea what we were doing, but one thing we did have was that hunger and that work ethic that I think we all got from our background in sports. Even if we were doing the wrong thing, we were doing it as tough as we possibly could. I remember collecting phone numbers in our database, going to our personal cell phones and texting those individuals who had canceled a subscription to one of the first 5 cappers on the platform and asking them if they'd be interested in a discount to return, restart their subscription, etc. It was like that work ethic and us all having our own individual jobs, and this being a side passion project that was aka Job 2.0, was the key contributor into not essentially flying blind, but finding a way to make it work.
Agreed. Guys, we've got about 5 minutes left, so I want to bring the story to life a little bit and help people understand of all we've kind of come through already, 3.5 years in, and like the years and years of journey to go and the millions of dollars we're going to help people make and the millions of consumers we're going to help inform. Let's get into a section that I want to do in each of these podcasts, which is talking about the opportunities we're seeing right now for the CEO partners we work with. Dash, I'm going to throw it over to you first. Talk to me about what opportunities you're seeing, whether on the promotional side or the, given the calendar of sports going on right now, what opportunity do you see for the partners you're working with and our partner success team are working with that will help them make more money on DubClub, and why?
Yeah, we're filming this currently on January 7th. Anytime we have a tentpole moment in the calendar year, it's a great opportunity to run some type of promotion. So in terms of the partner success side of the house, anytime it's the start of a new year, it's a great opportunity to sell longer duration discounts. And so the individuals that I've been working with are having a ton of success right now pushing year-long packages to get their subscribers through the end of 2025. Also, just looking at the sports calendar, we got the college football playoff semifinals coming up this weekend. We got the Super Bowl in about a month. We got the NBA season winding down, the regular season that is, in 3 months. And so on the Capper Success side of the house, we really emphasize taking advantage of these tentpole moments. And with it being an awesome time of year in the calendar, we have folks having success with those longer duration packages currently.
Love it. And just so people understand where Dash is coming from, the way that we've divvied up the responsibilities among the 3 of us founders, I've kind of taken the hat in product and engineering, so building what our partners touch every day and what our consumers are using to make better decisions, receive the right information, get the content they pay for. Lewis has taken on the role of really kind of being the liaison with new partners. So these creators that may be thinking about starting a business, may already have a business going, but are on a platform that does not help them win more together, to keep it frank and blunt, and really helping them understand what the value is of being on DubClub. And then Dash works with all of our existing partners and helps run our partner success team, which you guys are really coaches at the end of the day, right, Dash? Like, you think I think of you as a coach. Like, you're really there as a consultant to coach, helping these people make more money than they could have ever imagined, trying to do on their own or do, with somebody that doesn't really know much about the market, doesn't know much about end consumer behavior, doesn't know much about how to take advantage of some of these moments in the sports calendar, as you mentioned. Would you kind of consider yourself a coach as well?
Absolutely. We talk about launching in October of 2021, been doing this for a long time, have a really good understanding for what works and what doesn't. It's our team's job to drive our partners towards what we know in a data-driven manner works and steer them away from what doesn't. And that's no different from what our coaches our entire lives have done for us. So coach, advisor, mentor, whatever these guys need from me and our team, that's what we strive to put out there.
Love it. Lewis, what are you seeing from the new partnerships world? People that are, coming on board. What opportunities are you seeing right now on DubClub that partners that are, creators that aren't yet on DubClub should be aware of?
How about Dash just nailing it? I mean, that's what I'm doing in sales that really works, is showing him off and our team. Because what I'm seeing in the market right now is a real appetite and desire, and I don't think this is new, for partnership, where people want a partner who's going to serve as a coach, as an advisor, as a mentor. The tech basics are kind of table stakes, right? The stuff that we started out with in October of 21, accepting payments, distributing content, things of that nature, that's table stakes. There are other folks that can do that. What other folks can't provide is the level of partnership, expertise, specificity, in terms of taking someone who's kind of apprehensive about doing this, who's built a big audience on social but never asked anybody for money before, to show that we'll help them nail that new chapter in their journey, be a partner to help them work through how to price this thing, how to promote it out of the gates, how to message it to your audience that's come to know you as someone who doesn't charge a subscription service for some segment of your content. It just doesn't go out of style, and people are really seeking that sort of guidance, advisory services, and oh, by the way, a product that is built specifically for this use case.
I love it. It's funny because you're saying all the basics are table stakes. I don't disagree, but we're going to flip the table with our product. We're going to continue to build. We're going to continue to help our partners help themselves help see themselves as the entrepreneurs and the enterprisers that they are in the businesses that they can build. And so 2025 for us is about laying down that foundation for an operating system for our partners that allows them to make more money and form more people with way less effort. And one of those things that we've already done, which I give a shout out to the team, and this is kind of my segment of the opportunities we're seeing right now for our partners. One of the things we've already done is incorporate some of the knowledge that people have heard today from Dash and from Lewis about our partners and who these people are, and put that into the product over time. And most recently, what we've done is taken into account what happens in a calendar year, or generally just what happens with regards to a sports content creator providing really, really good information. Usually when that happens, people want to pay them more and stay around for longer, because most consumers sign up to start with someone that they've never gotten information from. They sign up for a shorter duration, like lower commitment. It's very normal. That's totally cool. It's totally fine, whether it's on a trial, on a week, on a month, right? They're never really signing up. If it's their first time, they're not going to drop, $300 for a year-long subscription to somebody. What we put into the product recently is that regardless of what duration package anybody is on, no matter what they're paying the creator individually, from creator to creator, in the DubClub product, when one of our partners puts out a promotion, like 90% off 1 week, our subscribers, the consumer, can purchase that promotion and get those days added on to their current subscription. So it's super flexible. And that gives our partners a lot of flexibility to run whatever promotion they believe is going to be most effective, while allowing every single one of their consumers, the people that are subscribed to them, to access that promotion. And those are things that then Dash can take over to our partners and tell them, look, here are the promotions that I think you should be running. Here's the time of year that you should be, thinking about this type of stuff. Like back around Thanksgiving, it's like get ahead of Black Friday promotions, those sort of things, without our partners having to worry, is this going to work? Like if I put out this promotion to my 1,200 subscribers, are people going to have issues and not be able to pay? That is not something we want our partners to ever be thinking about. We want them to run their business, not fly by the seat of their pants, but really push the boundaries running their business, trying to inform more people, get them to stay around longer, which is more valuable to the consumer at the end of the day, without having to worry about it. So that's one of the things we've done recently. I give a big shout out to David Estrada, who's actually in the office with me today. He's a remote engineer, full stack, based in Southern California. He's been with us. David was actually one of our first engineers that built the front end of like the original product. And he's, still cranking away. He's obviously grown a lot over the last couple of years. And most recently, he released this update to allow our partners the ultimate flexibility when putting out those promotions to their existing subscribers. So, Lewis, I like the call out that the basics are table stakes, but we're going beyond the basics at DubClub. We're building the operating system. We are going to be that destination where anyone can benefit. And we're going to use all this knowledge we've accumulated over the years about our partners and the people they serve. And we're going to make the product experience better and better and better. And everyone will win more together.
Great job, MC Ryan. This was fun.
Yeah, awesome first episode. Thank you, Ryan.
We'll let the market decide if it was awesome or not, but I had fun.
Yeah, well, let's get the media, the production team on actually making us look good, and then we'll see what happens.
If the ratings are good, it's because of us. If the ratings are bad, it's because of the editing team.
It's age-old facts. All right, guys, good stuff. Thanks for joining this first episode. Go get to your meeting, and I'll see you back here on the Founding 3 podcast in a week.